A little. City 1, Atletico Madrid 2. Well, let's go back to the studio and maybe say it does matter that the Blues lost their final pre-season game. We'll see. Kel, what do you think?
Thanks so much, Alistair Mann and Michael Brown, our commentary for that game. Welcome back to the studio, me, Nedum, David and Steph. You heard it there, full-time, Manchester City 1, Atletico Madrid 2. David, I'm going to put Alistair Mann's question to you that he put to me. Does it matter that Manchester City haven't won their final pre-season game? What will the impact of that be?
Of course, because we sat here, although you didn't ask for our predictions, I'm pretty sure everyone here on this in the studio would have suggested that City could win this game. However, the caveat to that is that the starting lineup was very strong from City, and that starting lineup left the field at 0-0. Yes, there could have been a few things better, but I thought it was a very good game. What Nedum and I were referring to or talking about in that second half is Atletico's substitutions. They brought on some very good players. City didn't bring on good players, but I think because City had made a raft of changes, which obviously unsettles the pattern of play, then Atletico do the same thing, and that's when the goals came. They were much better in that moment of indecision, shall I say, from both sides, and punished City with 2 good goals. But of course, pre-season charity matches, you want to win.
You do want to win, Steph. So what will be do you think, the general vibe amongst the squad? And obviously they're coming back. They'll be coming back to the UK. We've got the Community Shield next week. But going into that changing room, what will the kind of energy, do you think, be in the conversations?
I think they will be disappointed because knowing that group of players, they want to win every game that they play, and that's the culture and the standard that they've set over these last few seasons. But I think you've got to think long term. Players have had more minutes in the legs. A lot of players have played 55 minutes today. Ruben Diaz, Alvarez played 90 minutes, which is good to get them in them conditions, because I'm presuming it was very humid and hot over there, and to get that under your belt is good. But of course, the winners, they want to win, and against a really good Atletico Madrid side that were very competitive, and I think it's a good thing. I think sometimes it's not always the best thing to kind of go through sailing pre-season with loads of wins and playing the best football and peaking too early. I think sometimes it's like, okay, there's a reality that this is where we are in the season, hasn't started yet, and you get back to Manchester and you start training again during the week for the Community Shield.
Will some of those players, Nedum, then that came on in the second half, I think they'll be maybe feel it more than the first half, having that feeling of going, well, it was when we were on the pitch that we lost the game?
Do you know, that's a good question. I've been pondering that for the last half hour, because as they walk off the field, it's 2 different experiences. You've had the ones who started the game, and even though you don't say explicitly sometimes, when this is like the team or very close to being the team.
You do.
You know what I mean? And everyone wants to have that feeling of starting it off, because then when they make the changes, the flow's a little bit different, the style of play is not quite the same, and it can be a bit disappointing. And then when you're out there, you want to get into that starting 11, but you come on, and then that was City's worst spell. Aside from the chance that I think McAtee had very early doors after the changes, that was City's worst spell in the game. So you're on the field and you felt that, and then Atletico made their changes and they got in the ascendancy even more. So you walk off the field disappointed, firstly, that you didn't start the game. Secondly, that you ended up conceding losing in the game. But then the other side is for the people who started the match, and overall everyone's in good health. They made some nice combinations. They knew that they weren't at their best, but they still competed and had a comfortable game. So it is, they'll be disappointed. And as I say, there's some certain things that when you're in and when you're out, even if someone doesn't tell you that you're in or that you're out. I think some of those players, the way that City finished, it's very unlikely that we'll see that team come next week against Arsenal.
Yes.
You know what I mean? So in some ways you can be disappointed, but you've got to work hard to get yourself out of it.
Yeah. Let's talk through then some of the goals. We had, of course, there was a few chances before, and Ortega had a great save on the line. Then we had McAtee as well, who came close. I mean, I think this is the first.
It's the first goal.
This is the goal,
first goal. I mean, first of all, it was quite sloppy play in the build-up there, Nedum, as well.
Yeah, it was. The intent is right in terms of trying to play the ball into midfield, but when the press was that aggressive, you've got to make sure that the pass that you make is the perfect pass that will beat that player, or you skip that and go somewhere else. But in fairness to City, they ended up regrouping, but then that, like David was saying when it happened, it's the type of thing you see in training at the end of a session all the time. Right, I'll pass the ball here, you send it back to me, I'll shoot from 20 yards out. Like, I've done it for 20 years and no one's ever scores like that yet still somehow. You know what I mean? We're witnessing it now, and it's a shame because, you know, if you start a highlight for your team conceding and you had the ball first, it's usually quite preventable. So it is a shame that did happen. But, you know, they reacted as well as they could, but finished in the end.
Was the blame more than, say, on the Diaz decision, the pass, or could Phillips have done better?
No, it's just, to be honest, I don't know what Pep wants. So I'm not going to say immediately that it was the wrong decision to pass there. But I think if that was the right decision to make the pass, then I think it could have been executed better.
Yes.
Maybe Phillips could have been in a different position. Maybe the ball from Diaz could have been played into a safer area. Because in the end, it seems like it was an easy claim for the attacking midfielder to go and get. Llorente, I think it was. Just go and just grab. And if you sense that people are that desperate to jump and play and get a pass, I think you've got to be very selective or just understand the quality required to make sure that you beat that.
Yeah, absolutely. Second goal then, City went 2-0 down. It was with a Carrasco goal. Great run, David. We can see it here. Maybe Rico Lewis really, tried, but he just got evaded in a great finish.
Yeah, if I could say concern, I mean, it is pre-season, and without going too much about that, it's another goal on this Asian tour which City have been high near the halfway line, and effectively one ball has gone beyond the defence and ended up in the back of the net. And yes, it was a great flick by Depay. Yes, it was a great bit of skill by Carrasco, and the finish itself, everything about it is fantastic. I mean, let's be right, we're not talking about a substandard team here. We're talking about a regular, as Nedum said, top 3, top 4 finishers in La Liga. They won the Liga not many years ago with some fantastic players. So give them half a chance, they'll punish you. I have to say again, just to answer your first question, yes, you'll be disappointed you lose 2-1 because you are winners, but it is also pre-season, and that disappointment shouldn't last long at all.
Yes.
You then look at the first goal and say, well, was it what we were supposed to be doing, passing in the middle? We look at the positioning of the team for one ball to be flicked on and exposed, and you go, all right, okay, that's what we need to improve on. It was a fantastic finish. The first one was a fantastic. And what I was like with Nedum there, what we didn't say was Depay, the way he's crossed the ball back, it's a fantastic finish.
Unstoppable, isn't it?
Yeah. So it's like, okay, we give the ball away, but they still had to do something fantastic to score. Disappointing, but they're not a bad team, Atletico.
No, they're not too bad.
Yeah, they're not too bad.
We did half the deficit, though, and it was Ruben Diaz, who, as you said, one of the only players to get a full 90 minutes. Lovely goal and good header, Steph.
Yeah, it's a great delivery by Gomez, and great connection, really, just to get it into the back of the net. And I think someone in the studio said City must have to improve on set pieces, but
Names are never happened.
I can't do that. But I'm sure we've got recorded in here. Yeah.
Whoa!
But yeah, a great goal, and I think making it 2-1 probably doesn't feel as bad as 2-0. But I think when them chances came, we made the keeper work at times, and just to get one back, and for someone that had a good game today, it'll stand us in good stead for the rest of the season.
Definitely stand us in good stead, hopefully, for the next all-important game, which is the chance to win more silverware, and that is happening next weekend. It is Community Shield time, and of course we are taking on Arsenal. So, Nedum, what will this week look like now? Obviously, we know, because of the delay, I think the team, the lads, are coming straight back into training from tomorrow, I'm guessing, and then building up. Will we see City at their free, full-flowing best, or does that still take a little bit more time?
I don't think they're right there yet, but I'd be worried if they were in, the first week of August. It's a long old season, and they just need to be ready to be able to compete and to, hopefully win that game next weekend. But they'll get better and better and better. I think we've seen this for the last few years. I think some people, they seem to do really well at the start of the season, and then it just implode. But that's not the way that City do things. They stay competitive, and they know the things they need to work on. They're trying to get people's fitness levels up to where they need to be to sort of have a prolonged season. So I wouldn't be worried about them for this next week. I think they'll compete well. I think they'll do well. But the best version of them is still many, many weeks ahead, in my opinion. And then also, I think for the guys flying back from Asia, they'll probably get some time off. And that'll be good for them. They've worked hard. They've had their fitness work being done. But just have a bit of time off and then build up now, because this is it. Like, the season's right here, and you want to make sure that you approach it both physically well and mentally well as well, because you need that to be successful.
Steph, Arsenal have made some good signings. I think just interested to know your take on how you think they could be shaping up and looking on Sunday, but also in the season to come.
Yeah, I think there probably will be City's toughest opponents this year. I think they've bought well, and especially Declan Rice. I think he will add a different part to Arsenal's game, which they maybe lacked a little bit last season. And I think from last season, the only thing that they can do is learn from what happened towards the end, and the young group of boys that have probably learnt a lot about themselves in them last few months and have never really experienced like a title race like that. And City, from a mentality point of view, knew what they were going to do, and they knew that they were going to chase them down, and they've never probably experienced that as a group. So I do feel as though they will probably be better than last season. But I mean, I still fully believe in what the squad that City have, because they're only going to get better the age that they all are. They're still quite a young team relatively, and they've just won 3 trophies, so that experience will count massively.
Absolutely. David, as well, I was just looking at the Arsenal's pre-season. Do you think it's fair to say they're probably going to come into it a little bit more prepared, they've already had 5 games that they've played. They're going to play a 6th against Monaco on the 2nd. So, do you know, I think probably going to be a little bit more energised or in a better place than we will possibly.
It's interesting because we've just seen Atletico play their 2nd game in pre-season. That 90-minute covered game, we've seen that's their 2nd one. They look fantastic. I mean, to the point, I might fancy them for the La Liga, but it's what you do off the field, which is also, if not more important. And a lot of work can be done. So we were talking before the show about last pre-season for Man City, 2 games. You know, they've had 3. There's not a lot of games in a pre-season, yet you still have enough in you to go on and win a treble. So Arsenal will have a lot more, I'd say, live opposition practice. But I don't know if I should say it. I think they played a team from around here recently and lost 2.
Yeah, they did indeed.
Yeah, they were very unlucky.
Yeah.
But when you're playing at Wembley for a trophy, you know, all of a sudden things become very, very different, don't they? And I just look at what City have done in that first 55 minutes, i.e. keeping the same lineup except for Ortega at half-time. And I just think that Pep's got a plan for next weekend, along with the plan for the whole season.
Fantastic. And Steph, we can't go without quickly look ahead to the WSL season, of course. How are you feeling about it? And back in training tomorrow, I think, did you say?
Yeah, dreaded pre-season starts tomorrow for us. So obviously a lot of the girls at World Cup so far, so there'll be only, I think it's about 10 or 12 of us in training tomorrow. But looking forward to seeing everybody. It's going to be a long pre-season, and hopefully we can start really bright ahead of the new WSL season.
Well, we'll be following along keenly and very excited to see what it brings. An absolute pleasure as always, guys. Nedum, thank you. David, thank you. Steph, thank you. And good luck for the season ahead. And thank you to all of you at home. So remember, Matchday Live, we are with you every step of the way throughout the season. Loads of brilliant stuff coming your way throughout, and we can't wait to hopefully watch Manchester City do their thing. We'll be back with you for the Community Shield next week. I'm going to leave you with a live performance that's happening live in Seoul. Until then, though, have a lovely Sunday and see you all soon.
언제든지 내 모습 매직하는 번에 내가 잡아줘